This video is so long. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. For those of you who are new here, then hi. My name is Rojan, and in this channel I talk about issues that I've gone through over the past 10 or 11 years of my life, how I dealt with them, and how I still deal with them to this day. I would like to inspire you to be happy more and smile more, so if you're a fan of that, keep watching, and by the end of the video, if you still like the videos, then hit that subscribe button to see more of my weird videos. Yeah. Now before I start the video, I would like to add that this one's going to be a long one, so go get yourself a cup of tea or some. I feel like I say this like in every video. I've got tea here myself. This is chamomile tea, for those of you who were wondering. I'm pretty sure no one was wondering. Okay, so now go get yourself a cup of coffee or something, because it's gonna be a chill video and it's gonna be a long one. So as you can tell by the title of this video, it's going to be about friendships and how a lot of the times we feel like we've got no friends and we feel really lonely. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my experiences, and I'm going to give some tips of how you can improve. So a couple of days back, I was getting ready to go out when I got an email from one of you lovelies. This person asked me not to mention their name, so I'm going to respect that. But the whole email was mostly around this idea of friendships. Sometimes we all feel alone and we feel like we need friends, and we feel like at this second nobody really cares about us. I immediately thought I need to talk about this. I'm going to make a video about this because I personally have been through a lot of that, because I changed my schools and my schools were really different. I feel like I got a lot of experience in this situation, and also like how sometimes you feel like you've got nobody, and for a majority of my life I felt that way. So before we start, I'd like to give you guys some context or some story of the background or what happened to me. Now I would think that I know a lot about these situations because I personally have been through a lot of these feelings, and for the majority of my life I felt lonely, and we'll get to that in a second, that feeling lonely and being alone are very different things. I had to change schools for my middle school and to go to a private one. The school that I wanted to go to was one of the best in my city, and it wasn't the best like to the education wise. It was best because like all the high class people would send their kids there, which wasn't the best thing, but I didn't know at the time. The majority of people there were focusing on things that I honestly like didn't think about, and you know, like kids thought a lot about like the brand of clothes you would wear to school. And you know, our clothes was like uniform, so like the only thing that we could have was shoes, so they talked about that a lot, and we were only 13 years old, so to that point I never actually thought about that. I was never really criticized by the brands that I wear, or if I wear designer shoes to school or not. So you could just imagine from the beginning it was really hard for me to talk to people, because I genuinely thought that I wasn't as good as them simply because I wasn't wearing the clothes that they were wearing. Not everybody was like that, to be honest, and one of the issues was that I didn't actually notice that. So we had this group of cool kids, as every school does, and these were the core people that were in that school since primary school. So these were the core people that actually knew each other. So when I joined, I felt really unsafe, and I felt like nobody would understand me at all. But I was lucky. I found people that would understand me. I later on found my way into that core of people. It turned out they were actually really genuinely nice people. So when people looked at me, they would be like, oh, Rojan, she has a lot of friends, she sits with these people every single day for lunch, she talks to them, she's friends with them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the truth was that I always had somebody to hang out with. I always had somebody to go to group projects with, and I always had somebody to sit and have lunch with, because our group was such a huge group. But I never felt more lonely than those years, and that's such a huge concept that I didn't actually think about. So later when I moved here, I joined a college, a very small college, and again I had to deal with the same issues. I was a new kid and it was hard for me. I later joined my foundation group course that was this year, and I also had the same issues. So I completely got where this person came from in their email. A lot of the times this person in school feel alone, and that's simply because that their friend is in another class, and although they have a lot of friends around them, they seem to have been missing one person that understands you, that one person is like your best and closest friend who gets you and you're there with them all the time. And this has made this person really, really alone and really sad at times. And they were saying of how was it that in school, how did I like develop friendships, how did I make friends later on when I moved here. That was when I actually learned how to deal with these situations. And a lot of the times you don't need that one person, you don't need that best friend, because having different friends and maybe they're not your best friend, but you still get to learn from them, and because there's so many, you get to learn from so many different people. But for the times that you do feel lonely and you do feel alone, I have gathered 5 tips that would help you improve that situation, and some things that I would like to mention. Tip number 1, don't mistake feeling lonely with being alone. Those are 2 very, very different things, but often we mistake them for each other, and it's very hard in our brains to kind of think, like stop and think about it. First of all, you can be lonely while you're with others, but it can't be said for vice versa. Loneliness, it comes from inside of you, it comes from within. Whereas being alone is a signal that your brain sends because the person is not being socially connected. So as you can see, they're very, very different things. You could be feeling lonely in a stadium of people, but you wouldn't be alone necessarily. So I think the more important question is here to ask yourself where this is coming from. Is it that you literally have nobody around you at the second? Or is it that although you have people, you may feel lonely? That's a whole different situation that you gotta deal with. Feeling lonely can make you emotionally tired, like it makes me emotionally tired, but being alone not only cheers me up, but also makes me more energized, it makes me more happy. So here I'd like to add a song that actually helped me a lot through a lot of my life, and it has some quotes that I really, really like to share with you guys. The song's name is called Heavy by Birdtalker, if I'm not mistaken. I will link it down below so you could listen to it. It's an amazing song. So I would like to add some of the quotes of this. If you're lost and you're lonely, go and figure out why. Take a trip to your dark side, go on and have a good cry, because we're all lonely together. And there's another one that says, only way to lose that fearful feeling, replace it with love that's healing. This had no connection to this video, the second one, but I just really love it. So go ahead and listen to it. It's really, really good, and it makes you think a lot. Point number 2, know that making friends is a social skill. Yes, I said it. It's not something that you were born with at all. Although most people learn this in kindergarten or in when you're very, very young, some of us still need to deal with it, and some of us still need to learn it. And honestly, I had to practice this a lot. But here are some tips that might help you maybe be more social, or maybe would help you in these situations when you meet new people. So this is like category within category. So good? Stay with me, I know it's complicated. Point number 1 is break the ice. When you meet new people, it's hard for everybody, but if you're that person that breaks the ice and starts a conversation, you're always going to be remembered, and you're going to just make everything easier for other people, and it's going to give you a better time as well. Point number 2, this is something that I really do, and I honestly don't think that people really do this often, but it helps a lot. So look around in the room and spot those people who you think are not thinking that they're welcomed, or you can always see those people who are just by the side, they're not really talking, they're feeling really uncomfortable. Go to them and invite them to the conversation, talk to them, ask them anything. Those people, because you make them feel comfortable and welcome, they're going to remember that. So they're going to probably be very friendly to you, and you're going to be one of those people who make them feel welcomed and happy, and that's always a good sign. You can even welcome them by smiling. I always say this in my head whenever I see anybody. Smiling is free, you don't have to do anything. You can sometimes even have a welcoming smile, and people will just join you, and they will just feel welcomed and feel happy around you. And point number 3, which is really, really important, listen. So in a lot of the situations that, you know, like once you started the conversation and you invited people and you're talking to people, don't be one of those people who want to talk and talk and talk. They don't actually listen. Don't be one of those people who ramble on and on and on and actually don't stop to ask questions or like listen to other people, because it's a conversation for a reason. There needs to be like different people talking. Like, you're not giving a lecture, basically. So now we're back to point number 3 of the actual category, the main category. Don't rush things. So let's just say you have the skills to talk to people and you make good connections with them. Take a look and see if the people who are around you, do you have anything in common? Would you like to spend time with them? Because you shouldn't have like somebody in your life just for the sake of like having them in your life, just to say, oh yeah, I'm not alone. It's worth stopping and taking a look and seeing if you actually want to be friends with this person. Are they actually teaching you anything good, or are they taking you out of your actual route in life and maybe taking you somewhere you don't want to be? As I mentioned this in the email as well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Leave it. So after you've done point 1 and point 2 and like you talk to people and you're friendly, you have the skills, stuff like that, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I don't want to like sugarcoat it, but it just happens, you know. Sometimes people are just not interested, and that's okay, you know. We're all people. Sometimes we match and sometimes we don't. So don't pressure into things, because I've done this, and I'm not proud to say it, but there has been times that I just couldn't understand, like, why wouldn't this person want to hang out with me? So I kept like forcing this like friendship and like inviting them to places and like wanting to hang out with them. And I think that the whole thing was I should have just took it slowly, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You know, I'm sure that if that person is not a good friend for you, you're going to find another person who will understand you and who would be proud to be your friend. So another very, very important point in this category is just be careful to what extent you go to be friends with somebody. I say don't pressure, but I know there are some people who you really want to be friends with, and I have done this before, and just be very careful of up to what point do you go for that. I get this from a lot of people in the emails, is that, you know, in order for you to be friends with people is to go to parties or drink or smoke. I'm not saying don't do it at all, like, oh, it's a bad thing. I'm saying because you should never have to invest so much in something that you don't want to do, like peer pressure, that's the name. You would never have to smoke or drink to be cool, to be friends with people. If it's a real friendship, then you wouldn't have to do those stuff. I'm 20 and I don't drink or I don't smoke, and I honestly don't party, and yes, it is a deal breaker for a lot of people around me, and especially in the city that I live in, and we're like all students who live alone, and everyone's like, oh my god, how, and stuff like that, and like they judge me quite a lot, and I don't, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to be lonely and I'm not going to have friends. I actually have a lot of friends that care about me, like, and I care about them, and they're very, very dear friends of mine. And don't change who you are because of somebody else, because I've done this and I was being somebody who I didn't want to be and who I wasn't to be friends with somebody. You should never have to change you to be friends with somebody else. Point number 4, do not judge. This is a mistake that I make quite a lot, actually. Never, ever, ever, ever judge people. And I don't mean that to the point of like judging. I mean that in the sense that I always like analyzed people. Ever since I got out of that school, I have been in contact with people who I would never really hang out with in school, and turns out they are amazing people. They think exactly like me, and they are so like amazing human beings. To be fair, I never thought of them that way. And because of the group of people I was in, I always judged others, and it was terrible. But these people were, I always tell them, like, they tell me, they're like, it's so weird that we actually never hung out back when we were together and we had the chance to. We were in school. One of my closest friends right now, she is actually a year younger than me, and although we were in the same school, we never actually hung out. I mean, I never gave it a second chance, whereas when I actually ended up hanging out with her, she's like an amazing person. We have so much in common. Look at people as people and be open to being friends with anybody. You never know, they might be super connected to, you might be super similar, and you might have a very great relationship with them and a very great friendship. Point number 5. Be honest. Ask yourself these questions. Do you want a friend? Are you feeling lonely? Do you want to be friends with a certain group of people who you think are amazing and you just want to be friends with them, and this is why you're watching this video? Do you just want to be cool in school and you want to hang out with those type of people? Or do you actually want somebody in your life that cares about you and you learn from every day and they make you be the best version of yourself? Because that's very important, just to be honest with yourself of what you want, and that's how you can take the next step. Are you what you would like to have in a friend? My mother always says, treat people how you would like to be treated. So act in a way around people that you would like them to act around you. You know, be a great friend, so they could be a great friend too. Side note, and this is the last note that I'm going to add, don't invest too much in a friendship. Because at the end of the day, friends come and go in your life. The most important thing is to learn from them as much as you can and be the best friend to them as you can be. Second thing, don't take anybody too high up so they can hurt you. With that being said, I would like to finish this video. Go check out the song. It's actually a really good song. It makes you think a lot. And tell me what you think. Send me your messages, send me your emails, and you know where to send them to. The email is linked here, and I will link it down in the description as well. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to me, and comment down below and tell me what did you think about this video. Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? What was your favorite points? Tell me all of them. And that's it. I will have to go watch Lily because she's live now, and I will see you guys next week with another video, hopefully, and no hopefully, I will upload. What is wrong with me? Keep being happy, keep being you, and keep smiling, because we all deserve it. Bye!
Sitting poolside, wondering if I'll find a girl like you, or if I'm gonna die.